Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here. We got a list of 24 properties, and I'll try and make it quick. I don't like to sort of waffle on things too much. We start off with a vacant piece of land, 3.7 acres at $289. That's less than $100,000 an acre. Not bad. Usually you get paid the most for the first acre and then a little bit less after that. Seems okay to me. Ask for those building permits. You have to make sure in certain areas that you're not too close to quarries, that you're not in conservation land, that you're not in escarpment protected land, that there's all kinds of considerations you have to look at when, even your plans. You're buying that land, plus you're probably 150 to 200 a square foot to build, plus all of the other hidden costs. So you definitely want to have somebody who's good and experienced guiding you about what that's really going to cost when it's all said and done. And usually my rule of thumb is you can add 30% onto whatever you're quoted, because it tends to just run over. That's just one of the truths of renovations and building. So cost again is $339. This one is main floor plus the lower basement level, and then you have another unit on top of that. That's why it's a stacked townhouse. Second and third story is what this unit is up there, and then you've got stairs down to a garage. So you do have a private garage access from this one. I always think that this one, there's only one car parking. Most of the people who move into these homes need 2-car parking. It's just not there. So the builder, I think, offered the spaces at $5,000 a piece. I would have snapped up one so fast it wouldn't have been funny. 131 on maintenance fees to me is a little bit high. So you say, okay, well, what else can you get for the same price? You look at some of the Mattamy stuff at $350, $360 right now. I think it compares better. You have a garage plus a driveway space, 0 condo fees, no tied attachment to anything. And I think in many cases that makes a lot more sense for the average buyer. So those ones have always kind of been in a funny place to me between the village towns and the 3-story towns and condo apartments. It's like they're kind of halfway. They have some things I kind of don't like about both of them, but to me it's like I think you choose whether you go this way or this way. Nadlin Heights is an example of Mattamy one. I'm not sure if this one is tied into the common elements on the condo, which is right nearby. It looks like it's a current model, which would be 1195 square feet. And the price isn't that far off for a current model. So you can see right from here, you get your view of the buildings here. That's Louis Saint Laurent. You do have a lot of people looking at you, so it does have a different feeling than some of the other streets where you'll find these homes. So if you don't like that building, you could probably find something similar for the same price. I would assume that because it's 1025 Nadlin 08, that it probably has some kind of tied element fee, which might dissuade me and might make me go in a different direction. So Mark Street is 440. It's a Hillsview end, 1510 square feet. You've got some pot lights and a nice kitchen. Some hardwood, I think, on the main floor would really finish the look. And on top of that, I would say that this one is probably leaning on the high side. Only recently have we seen a few of these models go up into this 440 range, but it's still not the norm for this model. Usually you're floating in the 420 to about 435 is a more regular range for this type of home. Nairn Circle is 482,900, and so it's linked only by the garage here. So there's really no interior walls that are joined there, which is nice. The 9-foot ceilings make it seem a lot more like a detached home than a semi. It's got a good layout, 3 bedrooms plus a bit of a den or a loft upstairs. And the size is there. I mean, it's interesting because we've got 3 in a row here that are all like this one here at 49. It's still a 3-bedroom, and it's a semi-detached. It's a Fleming model from Arista. It's a very open concept, main floor, 9-foot ceilings. It's got a nice layout. Like, people like how open this one is. They did a dining room here, but then you have a table right there in the kitchen. So most people use this as the family room, but then the only place you can put a TV is on this wall. And they've done a lot of upgrades inside the hardwood on both levels. We've seen a few homes in today's list that are actually, there's 0 carpet in the whole house, which is nice if you suffer from allergies. Big ensuite on this one. 567 Duncan, I assume, would either be facing the train tracks or it would be facing Derry. But there is a little part of Duncan Lane that comes back around, so it could be in a spot where you don't have that stuff. I didn't have a chance to look it up on a map. McCready is $499. So you're basically functionally a detached home. You are linked on this side by the foundation. 3 bedrooms, but at $499, you say, you know what, this is probably like about 1,800 square feet. Does it make more sense to jump from to a fully basically detached? I mean, you know, the joining underneath the basement with the link is not really anything to be concerned about. But is that better, you know, for an extra $18,000 versus a semi? There's always value in having complete and utter separation from the other ones. And then you might look at the other one at $482 and say, you know what, it's only attached by the garage. So that's the kind of stuff that, you know, buyers are constantly looking for the best value. And so you really need to look and say, as a seller, where am I positioning myself so that it's a compelling argument for somebody to want to buy me. So Yates is 519. It's a Powell model, about 1,900 square feet. The red floors, I know, will turn some people off. I've seen buyers that have looked and said, I don't like those floors, they're too red. And then for some reason, they decided to go red, green in the kitchen with a lighter cabinet. So it's interesting. It's not hard to rip that stuff off, but it's probably something that's going to hurt them when it comes time to try and find the right buyer. So Cabot is $549, 53 by 114 foot lots. It's not a tremendously big house, and that's the thing that I could see people having issue with, is this kitchen's going to be very small. We did see one of these models sell recently. I believe it was on the street too, and it backed onto some of the commercial stuff, so you were getting 30 feet deeper on your lot, but you had the commercial buildings on Main Street. So this one is around the bend on Cabot. It's got that nice basement second suite. We've talked in episodes, you gotta be careful about the legality of that stuff, but a good big yard here. I don't think they're that far off on price. You can, however, go on Woodward and buy a pretty decent property at $465 too. I'd just be concerned about the size of this home. So you look at the bedrooms here, you're 7.41 wide. 11.58 is fine, but 7.41, the average queen size bed is probably a little bit more than 6 feet. So now you're trying to dance around a queen size bed, or you're repositioning beds and kind of tucking them in the corner. So just be aware of room sizes. Anything less than about a 10 by 10, it can be a little tricky, if especially with older kids. So this one on Solomon at $550. I love this model, 1835 square feet. It's Anatomy Plan 4. And they have the pantry in the kitchen. I actually find that this pantry wrecks the flow. I like the idea of a pantry, but the way that this angle kind of cuts off, it seems like the kitchen's a lot smaller. Besides that, like I said, I like the model. I don't think they're going to get this price. I think that what we're seeing in this price range is well over 2,000 square feet for the single car garage, or it's got a finished basement, or it's got some sort of green space or something like that. There's another one here at $559. I don't have any information on it. It's on Solomon as well. Snyder's $559. This is 1,600 square feet. It's very high. Here's the thing. We've seen this model, well done, finished, sell in sort of like on the upper end towards the 500, 505. And then it's got the finished basement, it's got the green space. Even if you called that $20K a piece, it still doesn't put us at $560. So if they do get the money, we're looking at probably, because there's just a lot of nice finishes on this one here. But you're limited by your size. Like eventually you reach the point where, I mean, double garages are starting to show up in this range. The nice thing about the configuration of this home is that you can oftentimes widen the driveway and have 2 spots. Swindale is $629, and so this is the Arista model, 2,800 square feet. It's a little more basic inside, but you're going to see in today's list there's a home, the exact same model home, selling for $100,000 more. So I would rather go into this one and say, I got $100,000 cash, I'm going to go make this one my dream house. So that's a good discounted price. We've seen quite a few of those models sell into the high 6s recently this year. I've seen more of those homes than really I've seen in past years. Now the one thing is that you don't have a backyard here. You've got a little bit of a courtyard here. That's it. So if you're a backyard lover, not the right house for you. Azleton is $634.9, about 2,540 square feet. Zero carpet in this house, nicely upgraded. I like the color choices here. Very tasteful. I'm a big fan of the white kitchens. I think they look terrific, and they're classic. They never go out of style. There it is. So you lose a driveway space here. I'm not sure if the sidewalk, I think I see a sidewalk down here. So 1 space here plus 2 in the garage. But like we've talked about many times on Daily Homes, you're opening that space up on the main floor. Cochrane 695. It's a 2,300 square foot home. It's probably decorated better than most models. I mean, it's very, very nice inside. But the thing is that a pretty good version of this home sells, like there's even a larger model, the Plan 7 with a finished basement, I think is like 625 right now. So this model sells in the low 6s all the time. So really what you're paying for here, without that finished basement, you're paying for the way it looks. I mean, you're probably about a 10% premium minimum for getting the way this one looks. Is someone going to do that? I mean, you could go to this one on Gooch, 400 square feet bigger, and get a pretty nice looking home as well. Maybe not as waffle ceilinged and like crazy upgraded, but it's a good solid house. You've got a gas stove there. What I like about this home is that it has this little turret in the back, which is an amazing little place for an eat-in, and then you have a little sitting area in the master. So right above that is the same thing. There's a little turret in the master. It's a really nice floor plan, glass shower here. Double sinks, the iron pickets. They've done a lot of good upgrades. I find that the way they took this angle makes the house look like it's really sort of crushed in with the rest of the neighbors. It's actually a much wider house if you see it from the street. The stone and stucco elevation's good. I like this one. This is one of my favorite picks of the day. So here's the one on Stringer. Same thing, little courtyard over here, cleverly disguised. I don't think they really wanted to show people the size of the smaller backyard. Like I said, it's got some hardwood, it's got some advantages over the other one, but you could put hardwood in a house, like even the best hardwood you could possibly imagine, you could probably do the whole house for $20,000. So it is a big price difference. Country Lane is $749, 15 side road and first line, and you're on about, what are we looking here, about an acre? It says 1.75 acres, so it probably pies out a little bit. Yeah, I would say it's looking okay. $750 seems like a decent price on this one. McJanet, if you're going back into the city, about 3,200 square feet on this one here. Hardwood floors, again, nicely finished kitchen, and you also have the green space behind. You've got a little private pond there. That's not bad for that size of home with green space at $465, and it's got the hardwood. It's got a couple little treats in the kitchen. I don't think that price is that far off at all. So Maple on the 3rd floor, I remember waiting a couple years ago for a 3-bedroom condo to come out, and it took forever. It took almost a year to find a 3-bedroom condo. I've seen probably 7 or 8 of them come out this year. 339, there's one in another building, I think on the 2nd floor. It might be on Bristol on Main. That came out at 339. That I kind of like the finishes on this one a bit better. But there's a lot of competition right now. I think it's positioned well. That's probably about entry point right now for the 3 bedrooms. Even last year and the year before, they were in the 320 to 330 range. So I think the price seems pretty fair there. We've got a Bryn Mawr, 1,733 square feet. So I talked about this one. There's a little bit of an office here off of the family room. It's nice because you can kind of keep an eye on the kids, see what they're surfing on the internet. Or you could have a nice little home office here that's still integrated with the rest of the house. You could put a French door on it. I think it's got a great layout. It's nicely finished. I think at $449, they're probably a little bit ambitious on their pricing. However, where else do you get a double car garage, 1,700 square feet at $450? You just don't find it, right? So I think that when we see models like the 1,500 square foot end unit town with a single car garage, now it does have a yard, I get it, right? But this one has a double garage, and so, you know, maybe it's possible. Historically, these ones don't usually sell for this kind of price. They're closer to the like $435, even $440 for like a really good one. So again, sometimes we've got the people that that raise the bar up. This one on Somerville, I think, is a great deal. $730. It's 3,300 square feet. I sold this same model with a pool in the back for $795 last year. So it's like at $729, I understand that the stairs are more of a natural finish. You can paint those cupboards for $100 a piece, have a nicely refinished kitchen. So I understand that the home's a bit more basic, but you could probably walk into this home and spend 100 grand and you would not lose out, especially when you have that behind, when you've got a beautiful sort of ravine look in the back. You're facing west, so you get those great sunsets, and it's in a great school district. The library is just down the road. You could walk to the library. I'm a big fan of that one. Bridle Path in Puslinch is $1 million. They sat it right on $1 million, which I think is a smart idea, because it just opens your price range up. A lot of people will stop their search there, or they'll start their search at $1 million. The indoor pool I thought was kind of sexy, and I wanted to show you that. And there you go. But Puslinch is further west, right? Like the value goes up substantially when you get even another 10 or 15 minutes outside of town. The agent's comments I thought were hilarious. So I have come to understand value better than most. Well, guess what? Here's the thing, is that it's not about I. Like for anybody to use I in a property description, I find that incredibly it's not helpful to the person reading that. This is not a battle of ego here. This is a battle for attention for buyers, and no one will argue that it's here. That's a fluffy statement. It's not. There's no benefit in that to the buyer. So anyway, for what it's worth, I thought that was a bit ridiculous. And then we got this one on Martin Street, which has been relisted at a lower price. One of the most unique and special properties, I think, in all of town. You're in a great location right by Mill Pond. You've got a ton of character here. Probably the closest one that's sold to this one is the one years ago on Thomas that was sort of hovering at 1.6 and then 1.3 and all the rest of it. It sold well over $1 million kind of thing. But you're on 3/4 of an acre right in town. You've got a pool, you've got tons of land here, you've got this building. I think there's an extra little sort of studio apartment or something in this building. Anyway, there was another one down the street that sold. It had like a fourplex behind plus the house, and I think at this price there's certainly for the right buyer, this could be a pretty amazing property. So that's something unique and different we don't see every day. We saw an indoor pool. I think that's the first one we've seen this year on Daily Homes. We had one or two last year, but that's how we roll. So if you want to see anything in this list, give us a call, and we'll see you tomorrow with more Milton Daily Homes. Thanks for watching.